Hello, I thought I'd just go through a demo on something I was working on recently. I did this in Houdini, and then I rendered it in Blender, just because I think it renders nicer and faster. So I exported the geometry there. But as you can see, there's some nice leaf motion. So it is basically just a character that is all like leafy simmed, and even the branches are simmed, even though I made them as stiff as I possibly could. It's because that's how I wanted it. But it could have been softer, I guess. Could have made him a yarn guy. That would have been kind of funny. Maybe that's next demo. But I'm just going to go quickly through the scripting for all this. Start out with a character that I actually made in Maya. It's just curves. Technically, it's not even a character, but it's just curves as a character. Blast away is just arms. Then generate a trunk. I hate that it moves it like that, so I had to move it back. It's really annoying. I don't know why it does that, but, and, make branches, blah, blah, blah. Just want to get ahead of this. Okay. And then merge them all together. So it does that for the arms, the spine, and the legs. You could have them all on the same curve, but this one allowed me more control, so I could fine-tune where I wanted smaller branches on the hands and the ankle. I think that looked nicer, so that there was big fluffy feet. So you could also do it on the head, for instance, by doing it as separate curves. If you did it as one long curve, you could do it. It would take a while to fine-tune, I think, how it looks, just because of how the tree generator works, because that's what I'm using, the tree generator to generate this body. So I just go ahead, clean it all up, simplify everything. Less points, all that, less groups, because it generates a lot of groups. And then I go, I got this, I in Maya rebound just an animation I got online from Mixamo. Retargeted it to the original curves and then original geometry. So there it is posed. Then a bone captured it. So then, just easy. And then skinned it. Capture the skin. So one thing that I ran into was a problem was, as soon as it loads, when the bones, if I try to go directly from bone transfer to each individual, to all the branches all at once, it makes the skin like grab too many points. It's just wrong, in general. So what I had to do was attribute transfer from each bit, every line individually. So this one blasted off the first and second, the bottom level and the topmost level of branches, and then this one does a similar thing, but for the uppermost level of branches. You could have more branches. This one, it is extremely memory intensive. I don't have the best setup, to be honest. That's why, frankly, I'm done with this project. It's because I'm not going to work on it, because I cannot work on it. It is too much for my PC to handle. I'm sure that it might be a little bit better in Blender. I've seen similar stuff. But basically, I was just basing this on something I saw on an ad, where there's like an orange I think it was like a lemon tree guy who's just walking around. He is a tree, but he's like all bushy and he's got leaves all over him. He's, you know, shaking around going, you know, finger guns, whatever. I don't even think he had fingers or something. But that's what he was doing. So then I baked it all, you know, got it in here, saved it out, just blasted away some stuff, used some of the vertices. Then I grabbed the animation, bring it all the way down here. Let's see this actually. So you can see this is the original. There's no simulation on any of the branches. It's all static, which could be good. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, that would speed up your workflow quite a bit. Because when you get over here, that's when you're definitely getting into sim hell when you get into leaves. But it's also slow doing per branch. So, you know, I did a transform just to make sure his feet weren't in the ground. Measured the point velocity so I could transfer that down the line. And Vellum solved it. Just Vellum is just basic Vellum hair points. I'm going to leave a link to the video that I followed for normal trees that a man, I don't remember his name, but it was very good. I think he was German, but he did a really good just quick breakdown of how he made a Vellum tree. So like when the wind blows, it waves in the wind. Well, I wanted this to wave as the man, or as this guy character moves. A lot more intense because there's a lot more vertices. But it was a very good video. If you want to just do a tree, go follow that. But if you're making a guy, you basically copy what he did. You make the same attribute wrangle. Oh no. Which just makes the density and thickness based on the thickness of the branches. Like up here. Which was surprising because he had a very similar thought process. Because I found this way after I'd already started. And I already did all the way down to here. And I was really looking for a way to do Vellum branches. Because I didn't like how stiff it was. Anyway, moving on. This is the... There we go. I put in some pre-baked frames of just T-pose. I probably should have done some more, but I was pretty done at that point. Let's see. I don't think I can get this moving fast enough for you to really see the branches. Maybe at 12, you'll see it. But the branches will literally curve around themselves. Let's see. No. I made it particularly stiff, but it does bend. I swear. I swear. Otherwise, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't put myself through this hell. But I intentionally, in the solver, put the constraint iterations way up, just because I really needed it stiff. And that's part of the reason why it took so long. Actually, this side didn't even take that long. It was the leaves that really took forever. So if you do iterations, you can... How you would make it less stiff is just having a lower constraint iteration. See, I have high stiffness, like absurdly high. Because that's that many zeros plus that many zeros. Just way too many. But, anyways, the constraint iterations needed to be equally high just so it, you know, stayed true to the stiffness I set it to. Anyway, this was a part. This is, you know, where some of my masterpiece came in. So each branch, I was doing a basic point deform but it didn't work, right? Because each branch was capturing parts of other branches. That's not what I wanted, because it was ripping itself apart. So like up in the shoulder and up in the arm, it was pulling from the chest up, and then the chest was also pulling down. So I merged the geometry, the branches, like the final branches. So you can see the branches. And then the first frame, and then infinite pain. Let's see here. This one just saved the branch ID, which I then transferred to make sure it all saved out correctly. So let me demo that. So blast everything that's not level 1, which is the original. Actually, no, that doesn't show too much. Let's see this one. So you can see this is branch level 1. So it's not the original branch, and it's not the branches after that. But what it does is I have the curve, which is this one. Then I have the source, which is this frame -5, since it's at the T-pose. And then I get the branch ID from way back when. I feel like it's way up here somewhere. Yes, right here. I get the branch ID. And then the mesh. Put that all into one merge. I transfer the branch ID from, I guess I get it all. Yeah, I transfer all the primitive attributes. Why didn't I limit that? Whatever. And then I copy the attribute. Oh, that's why, because it didn't matter. I think. Maybe it did. I don't know. I copied the branch ID again, because it's the same. These all have the same primitive ID, so copying it is better. And keeps it all in place. And then everything gets remerged. And then when I go into the for each, I separate them. I take the source, which is the still up here. I take the mesh, which is this, and then I take the curve, which is the animated. And I take them all, I throw them in the point deform, but I keep, I capture and deform it? Oh, I didn't know that. I guess I do it in the for each. I guess that makes it a little bit more simple. But either way, I think I could have done it here, but I could have done just capture and then deformed everything else afterwards, but no, that works. So then, bam, did it for each single level. So let's see, does it show one single level? Yes, you can see one tiny branch. This was like the smallest branch of all the branches, and it is point deformed. Man, that's an ugly branch. Whatever. Blast out all the curves because we don't need them anymore. There we go. And as you can see, it's all posed. Level 1. And then merge. All back. Oop. No. And we're back. As you can see, there is a glitch. There is a few of them. It all originates at the start points, like down here. What is this doing? Delete. Back to leaves. Okay, so we get the leaves. Bam. So what we do is we check connectivity. We count the number of points in a single leaf. I'm pretty sure I could do that elsewhere, but I did it here. Just counting the number of points, and then selecting the first 6 of those 24 leaves, or 24 points in each leaf. Why? Because we're going to keep the... No. This was just a test to get rid of them. This was to limit the amount of leaves because it was crashing my PC. So I limited the amount of leaves randomly, just deleted whatever leaf. This is when I was trying to do a DOPS thing. It didn't work. So then I take the yes, okay. Get rid of all the bugs. Don't know why it happens, to be honest. It probably has something to do with the projection, but this is the best that I can figure out. If there's a problem with it, I don't know. I feel like we don't need those branches. As long as you work your way around it, it's fine. So then I'm gonna turn on manual so I can see this. I do a cloth constraint. I feel like I didn't even change anything here. Maybe I did. You can see what I have. Then I did a Vellum attach based on this group called leaf root, which just, you know, attaches it to the static, you know, mesh. Bam. And then Vellum solved it with a very high constraint iteration, because again, these leaves were not very stiff. So, in order to make them stiff, I had to spend 24 hours of my life rendering 168 frames. This was not a good time. Anyways, baked it out, checked connectivity, made sure all the bugs were blasted, made a basic material. That didn't matter because I was exporting it anyway. But everything was cleaned up, and I exported it just, you know, Alembic export, so I could keep the color data, which is what I wanted. And rendered out. As you can see, this is what I was able to render out when I threw it through Blender. Just a very simple ground plane, sky setup. That's all I did. And then just use the color data. Let's see if I can see those branches move. Because they did. They did move. I'm not crazy. Look. They moved there. My mouse was failing. Oh, you saw it. You saw it right there. The branch. Look at that. Right here. Watch this branch. You can see it move. I'm not crazy. Bam. Goes from up to down. Aha. That's what I wanted. It looks pretty good. I think there's just some render quality issues. But these leaves look so good in my opinion.